Senator Joe Lieberman joining us today to talk a little bit about Hispanic issues. And as you know, that Central Florida, the whole state really has a lot of Hispanics living in this state. And you know, I was given the assignment to ask about Hispanic issues. I think that's an unfair thing, though, because I feel that Hispanic issues are issues that are important for everybody, not just Hispanics, the economy, family, education. Of course, the immigration issue, which is not exclusively a Hispanic issue, but is of a lot of interest to Hispanics.
I totally agree with you. Matter of fact, sometimes people ask me when I speak to a Jewish American audience, what are you going to say? And I say, I'm going to say the same thing I say to any group, Hispanic American, Irish American, Italian American, because basically I'm for John McCain because I believe he's ready to be the President of the United States, more ready than Senator Obama, based on experience, having been tested in crisis. Also, he has a unique record, McCain does, of working across party lines to get things done. And unless we do that in Washington, our government's not going to solve the problems that people face every day. So those concerns affect Hispanic Americans as any other group of Americans.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then I always say, but if you got any questions that are unique to you, your family, or the community you belong to, ask me.
Well, what is the McCain campaign, in your opinion? What have they identified as Hispanic issues, and what is their stance on those issues?
Yeah,
immigration, for example, being I think
right. I mean, I'll say a couple of things generally. First, the Hispanic community, as I know it and love it, is a community that's very strong on values, and these are values that McCain shares. They're values that most Americans share, which is faith in God, love of family, loyalty to country, and so McCain has a long time history with Hispanic Americans, going back to people he served with in the military, frankly, people that he was in the Hanoi prisoner of war camp with, but also the large Hispanic population, mostly Mexican American, in Arizona. The second thing is the whole McCain approach to the centrality of small business entrepreneurs. I know, coming from an ethnic community, my father and all my uncles were small business people. This is an important way in which new Americans work their way up, then their children become professionals, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that particularly should appeal to the Hispanic community. Same for education. Senator McCain has been a real education reformer, and he supports school scholarship or voucher programs. So that's important, to give families a choice of where they want to send their kids to school. But if you want, I'll talk about some direct Hispanic issues, because obviously...
Well, immigration, for example, Florida has a lot of agriculture, and there's a lot of Hispanics working in that field. What's going to be the worker program under McCain presidency, for example?
Right, very important question. Look, John McCain has a record here, and it's a proud one and a courageous one. He put himself right into the middle of a bipartisan effort with Ted Kennedy to do something to fix our broken immigration system. It ultimately failed because of the public reaction to it, but it showed what McCain is about. I mean, it was about border security, about a path to citizenship or legal status for people who are not here legally, and some kind of temporary worker permit for people to come in more easily. And McCain always said in doing that we have to understand that even the people who came here illegally came for good reasons, which is that they want to, same reasons my grandparents came, they're looking for a better life for their families. And he always says that they, like we, are God's children, and they deserve compassion and fair treatment.
But do you see this issue? Would you see this issue coming back again in Congress?
I do, because it's an unsolved issue. I mean, what everybody concluded, including McCain, after the immigration reform bill that he fashioned failed to pass, was that you had to convince the American people we were going to do everything we could to secure the borders before you dealt with the legalization of people who were not here legally. And we're spending a lot of money now to try to secure particularly the border with Mexico. And I think the next step is to now get back to the other issues, temporary worker programs and the path to legal status in America. I believe John McCain would focus on that and would again try to assemble a bipartisan group to deal with it. He has a very strong record on immigration questions, and it's one that ought to give all ethnic groups concerned about immigration some encouragement.
Well, let's talk about the elections and race. There has been some tensions between minority groups, namely Hispanics and blacks. Some Hispanics don't like blacks, some blacks don't like Hispanics. Do you think that that's going to be an issue coming up November 4th or right now with early voting here in Florida? Do you think that Hispanics will not vote for Obama and will vote for McCain simply because McCain is a white candidate, even though they might be Democrats?
Yeah, well, I hope not. I mean, look, Al Gore gave me an enormous honor and privilege of being the first Jewish American to run for national office when he asked me in 2000 to be his vice presidential candidate. And I remember saying then, people asked me, I said, I certainly hope nobody votes for me or against me based on my religion. I want to be judged on my merits or demerits. And I think that's the way to judge Senator Obama as well. Don't vote for him or against him based on his race. That's not the American way. If you think he's capable of the best prepared to be president, then vote for him.
And then on the flip side, what about minorities who will vote for Obama just because he himself is a minority?
Well, that's what I say. I said to people myself, and I can only judge from that.
Right.
I said I don't want people voting for me just because I'm Jewish. If you don't think I'm really prepared to do this job, and I hope and believe that Senator Obama feels the same way about anybody, white or black, who feels like they have to vote for him because he's the first African American to run for office. The greatness of our country is that we give, this is a barrier broken. I mean, as somebody who worked in the civil rights movement in the 60s, it's actually a thrill for me to see Barack Obama run for president. But then you got to decide who you think is the best candidate. In this case, I happen to have decided it's John McCain.
Great. And the senator told me a little bit ago that he speaks a little bit of Spanish.
Senator McCain?
No, you do.
Oh, yeah, not too much, yeah.
So what do you know, and how'd you learn?
Oh, you know, I mean, just...
Un poquito.
Un poquito, yeah, you know, mucho gusto, and the normal things that you try to do. I got in trouble in a cute way once. There was a dinner of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of San Antonio, and they asked me to be the main speaker. I think they were honoring former Secretary Henry Cisneros. And I had a Hispanic guy on my staff who gave me 2 sentences of Spanish at the beginning and 2 at the end of my speech, which I worked on and I practiced. Apparently I did too well, because after the speech, people kept coming up to me and speaking in fluent Spanish.
You had no idea what to tell them.
I was lost.
Well, thanks for trying.
Yeah,
and thanks for being with us.
The glory of our country is its diversity. I grew up in a family where my parents taught us you don't have to assimilate, homogenize, to be like everybody else, to be a good American. The greatness of America is that each of our own cultures and backgrounds, when you put them together, make the country stronger. And, you know, Hispanic Americans are making an extraordinary contribution to the greatness of our country, and frankly, the best is yet to come. I predict to you that it won't be too long before we will have a Hispanic American nominated as a presidential candidate by one of the 2 major parties.
Well, we had a Richardson who,
yes,
I mean he came pretty far enough.
He was pretty close.
He was pretty close. Thank you very much for being with us,
Eugene,
Senator.
good to be with you. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.